A chill wind swept across the Soviet Union in the 1930s. Progress was promised, but a shadow fell. Stalin's shadow. The Great Purge began as a whisper, then became a roar of terror. No one was safe. The knock at midnight could come for anyone. Stalin orchestrated a campaign to eliminate dissent, real or imagined. The purge swept through the Communist Party, the military, factories, and homes. From 1936 to 1938, fear ruled the Soviet Union. A careless word could mean death. Loyalty was always in question. Neighbors became informers, colleagues vanished, children reported on parents. Society was torn apart by suspicion. The state demanded absolute obedience. Anything less was fatal. The purge was more than arrests. It was psychological warfare. It aimed to break the human spirit. This era is a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked power. Lives were cut short, families destroyed, a nation scarred. Understanding the Great Purge means understanding how fear is weaponized. It's a warning. Tyranny thrives when vigilance fails. The stories are harrowing, millions consumed by terror. The price for disobedience was catastrophic. The purge was a war against the people's minds. The silence of fear echoed in every home. The mechanisms of terror were everywhere. The lesson: never let power go unchallenged. The darkness of the purge still warns us today. Vigilance against tyranny is always necessary. Joseph Stalin, the man of steel, ruled with paranoia. He saw enemies everywhere: old Bolsheviks, intellectuals, military leaders. His insecurity fueled the coming terror. The assassination of Sergei Kirov in 1934 gave Stalin his excuse. Whether or not he orchestrated it, he seized the moment. The NKVD was unleashed. Repression began in earnest. Enemies of the people could be anyone, for any reason. Stalin's goal: eliminate all threats, real or imagined. The old guard, those who remembered Lenin, were especially targeted. Their memories threatened Stalin's narrative. The purge became a tool to reshape the Soviet state. Through terror, Stalin enforced collectivization and rapid industrialization. Fear was his currency, obedience his demand. The cult of personality grew as rivals vanished. The Soviet Union was remade in Stalin's image: suspicious, ruthless, and silent. The purge was not just about power, it was about total control. Stalin's vision left no room for dissent or memory. The machinery of fear was relentless. The state became an instrument of one man's will. Stalin's paranoia became the nation's nightmare. The Great Purge's machinery was swift and merciless. The NKVD, Stalin's enforcers, operated above the law. Arrests came suddenly, often at night. People vanished without a trace. Families were left in agonizing uncertainty. Silence was part of the terror. Interrogations were brutal. Torture, sleep deprivation, forced confessions. False confessions became evidence. Trials were a sham. NKVD troikas sentenced people without defense. The Moscow show trials paraded broken men for the world to see. Show trials legitimized the purge, convincing the public of imaginary enemies. Survivors faced the gulag, starvation, disease, forced labor. Millions perished in these camps. Execution quotas were set, lists of names drawn up. The firing squad was a common fate. The land soaked up the blood of its own people. Terror was inescapable, incomprehensible. The machinery of repression never rested. Daily life was a tightrope walk. Fear was constant. People whispered, avoided topics, distrusted everyone. A joke, a slogan, a relative's mistake could mean arrest. Everyone knew someone who had disappeared. Families of the accused suffered too. Wives arrested, children orphaned. The state encouraged denunciations for personal gain or petty revenge. Children were pressured to report on parents. Factories and farms were tense. Failure meant accusations of sabotage. Intellectual curiosity was dangerous. Conformity was survival. Books were banned, ideas suppressed, history rewritten. Anxiety was chronic, trust evaporated, spontaneity and joy vanished. The nation's energy was choked by silence. The social fabric frayed, community became impossible. The silence of terror echoed in every home. Life was lived in the shadow of fear. Osip Mandelstam, a poet, was arrested for a private poem about Stalin. He died in a transit camp. His wife preserved his words in memory. Nikolai Bukharin, once Stalin's ally, was accused of treason, tortured, and executed. His wife, Anna Larina, spent years in prison and exile, separated from her son. She survived, fought to clear Bukharin's name, but lost decades to the system. Ordinary people suffered too. Bookkeepers arrested for a name, peasants for owning too much. most stories remain unrecorded, lost in mass graves and forgotten files. The suffering was real, the losses immense. The Purge did not distinguish between the famous and the unknown. Lives were destroyed for quotas, not crimes. The terror was impersonal, relentless. Families were shattered, identities erased. The cost was measured in stolen years and broken spirits. The system saw people as obstacles, not individuals. The abyss swallowed millions, their stories silenced. The courage to remember is an act of defiance. Personal testimonies keep the truth alive. The Purge's victims deserve to be remembered. Their suffering must not be forgotten. Their stories are warnings for the future. The Great Purge left deep scars on the Soviet Union. Hundreds of thousands executed, millions sent to gulags. An entire generation traumatized, families and communities shattered. The Red Army was gutted, experienced officers executed. When Nazi Germany invaded, the military was unprepared, costing countless lives. Intellectual and cultural life was devastated. Writers, scientists, artists silenced. Creativity and innovation withered under repression. Scientific research was stifled by ideology. The early vibrancy of Soviet culture was extinguished. The Purge reshaped society. Fear, obedience, and silence became the norm. Stalin's power grew, but the nation was crippled. Initiative and dynamism were crushed. The Soviet Union became a superpower built on suffering. Its foundation was haunted by the ghost of the Purge. The wounds endured for generations. For decades, the truth of the Great Purge was hidden. Khrushchev's secret speech in 1956 began de-Stalinization, but reckoning was slow. Archives stayed closed, stories untold, fear lingered. The fall of the Soviet Union opened new avenues for remembrance. Memorials appeared, organizations documented the crimes. Victims' names and dignity were restored, but the process remains contested. Some still downplay or justify the terror. Remembering the Purge is a moral imperative. It honors millions of innocent lives destroyed. It warns how fear and ideology can justify cruelty. Personal stories must be kept alive as a bulwark against forgetting. The legacy is heavy. Freedom is fragile. Vigilance essential. The human spirit endured, but the cost was immense. The shadows of the Purge have receded, but its lessons remain. Understanding the darkness helps us value the light. We must ensure such terror never returns. The past warns us, never let fear rule. Remember, so history's darkest chapters are never repeated.